Welcome back to BadgerBlitz TV, your Rivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined as I am every week by my good friend, Rivals.com national analyst Clint Cosgrove. Clint, you know what we say? It's the best time of the week.
Best time of the week. Time to be awesome.
Let's be awesome today. Big win for the Badgers this weekend over Purdue. If you want to hear about all of the some behind the scenes stuff from homecoming, as well as some great stories, check out my podcast, Believe in Badger Football, with Matt Bernstein and special guest Chris Borland this week. It was a lot of fun, but let's get right into the recruiting action. Wisconsin had a really big offer this weekend, someone we've had our eye on for a while, and that's tight end Rob Booker out of Waunakee. Big 6'7" kid, long, lanky. I think they wanted to see his game get a little bit more refined. And, you know, it has. He's had a really nice junior season so far. He's popped, and, you know, he got the offer at tight end, which I think is probably his best upside at the next level. What do you think about Booker, Clint?
Yeah, so when we first watched him, and I can't remember if we did it on film or if we were just talking about him as a potential prospect. I can't remember if it was before this season or at the beginning, but as a D end, I watched him. He was like 6'7", only had a couple clips, extremely long, athletic, looked like a basketball player on grass. And it was only a couple clips, but I was like, that's about all I need. This kid's going to be a stud. And well, it turns out he has turned into a stud, but on the offensive side of the ball, and we'll see the film here, but you just love his ability to stretch the field. He's got that great frame. I haven't seen him in person yet. He could look a little narrow, but I don't think he is. I think it's just because he's so tall. Look how light he is on his feet. Everything just looks so natural and fluid. He catches the ball really naturally, catches it with his hands. Obviously is a mismatch for, linebackers, anybody who's going to try to carry him up the seam. He's a size mismatch, but you combine the size, you combine the athleticism, and to me, he's a no-brainer. Like I said, first watched him at defensive end, absolutely loved him there. And the greatest part about him is he is very raw, and he is not even close to being done developing. This looks like a future NFL tight end, in my opinion. Look at that stride, just his ability. Who's the tight end from Oak Creek that played at Wisconsin?
Travis Peckham. That's the exact comp that I was just about to go with. He's taller than Travis. So Travis about 6'4".
I was just going to say,
yeah,
he looks taller and longer than Travis, and
well, Travis
probably more
also came in
at the same point.
Travis originally came in as an outside linebacker, not a tight end. He was converted. He was just a big time athlete that they brought in, but they ended up converting him to tight end after being an outside linebacker for his first year on campus, I believe.
Yeah, I think this kid's going to be special. I could see him being in that 4-star conversation. You don't really have, 5-star tight ends outside of maybe 1, 2 a year.
I think Deuce Robinson
none.
is the only 5-star this year.
He's not even a 5-star
yet. Is he
yet.
not really? He's close for me, but that's a different story.
I think he will be. He's within the top 32, I believe, so he'll likely end up being one. But a lot of it goes off draft value. Same reason you don't get a lot of 5-star running backs
or guards.
Yeah, or guards. That is true. But no, this kid's special. He's going to be one of the, as long as he stays healthy and can put some meat on his bones, he's got a chance to be a spectacular player at the next level. Great offer. Like you said, they probably want to get him on campus, make sure that he's everything that they thought he was, see a little more film before they offered. But I'm sure in the back of their head, they saw him as a no-brainer. They just wanted to verify everything. And that would be a huge get for Wisconsin.
Yeah, so I want to talk about a little more. So we are about 2/3 of the way through the season. Most high school regular seasons are over. They're into the playoffs, and the Badgers have a bye. So they're actually at a really good spot to have a bye when it comes to the recruiting calendar, right? Because you've seen now almost a full season's worth of at least regular season tape on these 24s, the 25s, 23s that you might have to offer, late here in the process as the Badgers try to fill out the class for this coming year. But so if you are in the spot of Jim Leonhard, this is a great question we got from the Badgers Den on the board. Great conversation this week, by the way, guys, in the Badgers Den. If you are not if you're not signed up to BadgerBlitz, you need to get in there because there was some great conversation. Chief PT always bringing the heat with the questions this week. He had about 30 of them. We're going to try to answer.
Let's go, Chief.
Yeah, let's go, Chief. We love it. So let's start by talking about Jim Leonhard. If you are him, are you on during the bye week? Are you focusing on the 23s, wrapping up that class, trying to go out and look at 24, 25? How are you approaching sort of your bye week?
I'm approaching it straight up 23s. You need to secure this class. I know a lot of people say, especially when they talk about the urgency of either, removing the interim tag or hiring a coach, they're like, we'll just, this class is what it is. We'll fill it in the portal. And, that's just, to me, that's not the case. The last two classes haven't been the greatest. And when you go three straight, and they got some good guys in this class, and that's why I say they need to secure them. Guys like Chris Tarek. But if you go three straight classes that are underperforming, not only do you not have good starters, you don't have any depth. And when you don't have good starters and no depth, that destroys a program. And everybody says, well, we'll fill it in the transfer portal. That's not a long-term solution. That is a short-term fix. It can actually ruin the culture of the program. You want to do it, pick and choose, maybe a quarterback, maybe a tight end, maybe a position in need. You cannot do it across the board. It is not sustainable. We're seeing it at Michigan State this year. And you're not going to continually strike gold in the transfer portal. So I'm focused on the 2023 class. I'm going to see Chris Tarek. All these guys are trying to poach him right now. Jamel Howard's getting Michigan offers. We've
Trey
got
Pierce got like 30 offers this week, it feels like.
Yeah, no, I talked to him when I was at his game a couple of weeks ago. He said everybody's coming in, UCLA, and he gets the Auburn offer, Michigan offer. Like the kid's had a phenomenal year. He continues to grow. So I think that says a lot about the early identification in the kids in the class. But the number one thing is you secure these guys. This is the foundation. If Jimmy is kept on, this is the foundation for his tenure, and it is extremely important. Now, yeah, if you're on the road and you see a 24 you like, or a 24 you have to get in on early in order to have a chance, yeah, throw the offer out 100%. You can't recruit like you're a lame duck or anything like that. You recruit like you're going to be there for the long haul. But the number one priority is the 23 class. You're securing guys like Tarek and Pierce, and I don't care if it's the top guy or the bottom guy. The most important thing is that you have a full class and that it is a solid class. And right now they have some solid players in this class. There's still some work to be done, but they're not in a place where they can afford to lose anybody. So you go full court press on the guys that are committed, and then you look to fill those extra holes. And, you do not forego this recruiting class. You can't afford to. And everybody says the transfer portal is the instant fix, but it's not. Okay?
No, let's talk about. I want to talk about the portal a little bit, because that was another question that we got from the board this week. Another Chief PT question, I believe.
Let's go Chief.
Yeah, look here on the Big Ten. Which teams have surprised you in regards to adapting the portal and NIL, positive and negatively? We don't know a ton about NIL. It's not like NIL deals are public. Most of the time it's not like, hey, Braylon Allen signs for $2.5 million to do it. You don't see those kinds of like press releases, and trying to collate and figure out all that stuff is going to take more time than I have. But what we can talk about, though, is approach to the portal. We saw Michigan State last year. Let's talk about Michigan State a little bit, because they had a huge year last year, right? They get a great running back out of Wake Forest, who's now tearing it up in the NFL, and Kenneth Walker. And so people are expecting, okay, well, they hit the portal again really hard this year. Let's, they're going to run it all back. No, it has been an out and out disaster. So we've seen the portal both be beneficial and terrible for Big Ten teams. One of the things that you and I were talking about before the episode, the portal is really dismantling some of these Big Ten teams. You see a lot of guys leaving the Big Ten for other conferences.
Yep, no question. Like you said, the NIL stuff is kind of hard to project. You don't know what the exact deals are. I know like Michigan has some good infrastructure in place. I believe all their offensive linemen drive Lambos and are with a Lambo dealership. And obviously that's flashy and will catch some kids' attention. But as far as the transfer portal goes, you can win with it. You can fix holes with it, but you can't establish a program with it. And I think the longer this goes on, the more we're going to see this. Now, does a difference maker come in and change the trajectory? Yeah, I mean, that happens. Joe Burrow down at LSU. You look at, what's his name who came to Wisconsin? Why am I going blank on his name? The quarterback, Russell Wilson. So if you want to fill holes, by all means, but when you are doing a total overhaul, which Michigan State had to do, and, God bless Coach Tucker for doing it, because he got a big old contract and won right out the gate by doing so. And he kind of took advantage of some of the COVID stuff going on at the same time. So you can win with the transfer portal. You can't sustain necessarily with the transfer portal. It's almost like you know. Uh, you're just constantly looking to fill holes. There's no consistency. There's no culture. A lot of times you bring in guys who have done things a different way, done things their own way just because they're talented. Younger kids look at that. They say, I can get away with doing that. That's the type of player I'm going to be. And it just overall long term, yeah, you're going to have some hits. You're going to have some good years, but I don't see it as a way to sustain a program. You're always going to sustain your program by building from the ground up, which is recruiting quality high school kids who fit your culture, and you develop them within the program. Now, do we fill holes with it? Absolutely. Do we major in it? No. So that's why, I believe this class is so important. You can't take shortcuts. You can't all of a sudden say, oh, we'll just do it with the portal, because that's not reality. And those top tier players, there's a lot of teams going after them. A lot of teams that you want to talk about NIL money. There's a lot of teams with NIL money that are going after. I saw an article the other day where a Utah player, somebody offered him $1 million to go and transfer somewhere else, a collective. And so, I mean, those are the things that you're dealing with. And, you just got to be very careful as far as majoring in the portal. Yes, you can win. We saw it at Michigan State last year, but we've seen what it has done to their team this year. And they have a good, returning core. They have their quarterback back. They got the receiver back. They're still a dangerous team. But some of the same reasons they were very good last year was because of portal pickups. And the same reasons that they are not good this year is because they used those spots on guys that could have been developmental guys, could have been ready right now, or they missed in the portal. You're not guaranteed to hit a home run every time. Just because a kid was good somewhere else or was good in high school doesn't mean they're going to come in and fit in with your scheme, with your team, and with your culture and just be an ultimate success just because they're talented.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when we even see that season to season as teams change coordinators, right? I mean, like the thing that really pops out to me, this is not Badger related, but Tyler Van Dyke in Miami is, throwing it all over the field under Rhett Lashley. Josh Gaddis comes in and he can't even complete a pass, it seems. And this is the guy they were talking about as the first round quarterback. And so, I think that with all the coaching movement, with all the transfer player movement, like it's trying to, not just like fit the right, square peg in the square hole, but hoping that you've grabbed the right square peg and the right square hole, and they're going to fit into your overall puzzle, right? And that's why a program like Wisconsin is, can be, I think, is a place that is never going to like truly embrace like a lot of transfer portals, like an Ole Miss, like an LSU, like a Michigan State, because Wisconsin, and I am operating under the assumption that Jim Leonhard will have the interim tag taken off. If you want to see all of my reasoning behind it, you have to go behind the paywall on the message board, because I did a screed on it in the earlier this week on the message board. But I'm operating under the assumption that Jim Leonhard will be the head coach of the Badgers on opening day of 2023, signing day 2023, and all of those good things. So if you are the Badgers, you are trying to continue that culture, right? You don't get culture from the transfer portal. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. And it's an organic thing that is built over not one class, not even a span of 4 or 5 years. It's built over a span of, at this point, 30 years, right? And so the transfer portal, if you're just bringing in guys, like, you are not going to build the culture. We know culture, at the end of the day, with few exceptions, is going to win. Right, like,
this is college, not the NFL. It's
right. We've
different.
seen it. I mean, you intimately know the 2019 LSU team. That team had a couple very important transfers, but they had also sort of like built some back culture, right, on that, and it all fell to crap after the leaders of that culture left. Like your Joe Browers, who you brought in, it was the second year after a transfer, right? And guys like that, your Jamar Chases. But as soon as those sort of culture trendsetters leave, you can't backfill that with the portal. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. You have to have those leaders in place.
No question. And Burrow is an anomaly, just like
like Russell Wilson was an anomaly.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. That's an anomaly. That doesn't happen every day. Joe Burrow, his first year at LSU was not good at all. He was playing under center. Like they weren't good on offense, and all of a sudden he becomes one of the greatest to ever play the game at the college level. And so, even if you do have a very good player, the fit's got to be right. The coaching has to be right. The chemistry has to be right. And it's not just plug and play like the NFL, where guys are doing that 24/7 and it is their job, where you walk in, you have a role, you have a responsibility, and you fill it, and it's work. this is still college. There are still dynamics. There is still egos, just like the NFL, but there's also classrooms and grades and girlfriends breaking up with them and going to their teammates' house the next day. I mean, it's just, there's so many different variables at the college level that people don't understand, that it takes a lot more than just talent, a lot more than just coaching, but it takes kind of everything falling into place in the perfect way. And that's why I do like the transfer portal for filling holes, but you don't establish a program with the transfer portal. You could take a bunch of first round draft picks, put them all together from the transfer portal, give them 6 months to gel, and they're not going to go and win the national championship. I can guarantee you that.
No, they're not. I mean, you've seen, even on the Badgers this year, certain guys be great contributors. Kamoy Letu has been awesome at safety. Jay Shaw's been solid at corner. But those were holes they need to fill because they graduated all their defensive backs from the past season, right? So you knew they were going to have to hit the portal for that. But it's not like they brought in an entire defensive backfield of all portal players. They have some guys. It's like 50-50. Right. And, it depends on the unit and things like that. But you don't see an entire, like, I'm watching Ole Miss. Like, I was watching that Ole Miss LSU game. There were times on the field where 3/4 of the players weren't on either of those teams last year. It was insane.
Yeah, they're getting a different type of transfer kid, too. And they are dealing with a different set of, I don't want to say rules, but.
Well, getting Zach Evans in, former 5-star tailback is going to be a little bit different than bringing in a former, 3-star from the MAC.
Yeah, no question. No question. Not that both those guys can't play. I mean,
not that the MAC player might actually outplay the. I mean, you see some of these transfers. I mean, have you seen guys dealing with like some of these MAC players?
JJ Watt.
Yeah. But even this year, like, I mean, some of those guys out there are just.
Oh yeah, these kids can play.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. So that's where we're going to wrap it up this week, guys. We'll be back. Make sure to drop us your questions in the Badgers Den. Make sure you're subscribing to BadgerBlitz.com, your Rivals.com source for all things Wisconsin athletic. He is Clint Cosgrove at Rivals_Clint on all of the social medias. I'm Matt Perkins at _Perko_ on Twitter. You can catch me on the Believe in Badger Football podcast with Matt Bernstein and this week Chris Borland. And guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. You know what to do. And until next time, we will see you in the den.
All up in the den. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Let's go to the den.